The resistance is against the uncertainty. People like to have, a clear view, what's going on, what is my position, what is my role, what do I have to do. And now people need to realize is that if you want to make a delivery, a full delivery, it's never just the software, right? It's always all the disciplines.
It's a must for the non-IT people to do this agile digital transformation.
If you don't do this, you'll very easy get to the glass ceiling, right? You do your stuff agile, but the people around you connected to that same delivery are not. Means they will be late, you will be early, the full delivery will be late.
Welcome back, Arie, to our studios. You are a pragmatist, one of the 17th co-author of the Agile Manifesto, coming from a healthcare background and the army, and I'm sure that discipline is very important in the Agile transformation, so please feel free to add on your background.
Yeah, so indeed, healthcare and the army, although it was a very long time ago, but I think if you go through, significant times in your life, you need to take your learnings from it. So yes, healthcare and the army, I always enjoyed. Still, thinking back, it gives me joy that I've been there and seen beautiful things, done beautiful things. And then, of course, getting into software development in the late 80s, in 1987, making my change to what we call Agile today in 1994. In the meanwhile, lecturing at universities, being a consultant, doing commercial deliveries. And I think the last 15 years or so, I've been almost full-time in transformations, Agile transformation.
Nice. So when you say Agile, it's all nowadays Agile is transcend from the IT world. So because we know that Agile used to be only in the digital or software. So what insights could you give for those business non-IT who wants to embrace the Agile transformation?
If I'm honest, if I go back to 23 years ago, right, to February 2001, I know it's the Agile Manifesto for software development, right? I know this, but at the same time, software on its own doesn't do anything. So I can say that I never did Agile exclusively in IT. I mean, there are always other disciplines that are involved, whether it's the legal department or the marketing department, or, and you have to get those disciplines together, because if you do a delivery, they have to deliver as well, to make the new product or solution ready for use, in operations. And in hindsight, I could say that, we should maybe have replaced the word software by things like a product or a service, right? And the word software has made it focus too much on IT only.
Yeah, interesting. So it's a must for the non-IT people to do this agile digital transformation. Agile transformation.
I totally agree. So first of all, if you do a digital transformation without, Agile as the working concept in the organization, you're getting behind right away after that you did your digital transformation. But even more, you can say that, in the world where we are, it's so dynamic, the world that we have today, where we're living. And I think if you are in a marketing department or if you are in the HR department, you have to apply the same principles. I mean, Agile is about making something together as a team. Yeah. And if you just replace that word software by product or service, you can do recruitment campaigns and marketing campaigns all in the Agile way. So, and that will help you. That will help you to achieve the corporate agility. That's the thing.
Yeah. It is fascinating to see how the non-IT people can adopt the Agile. So what advice can you offer to teams and organizations seeking to adopt the Agile mindset?
People need to realize is that if you want to make a delivery, a full delivery, it's never just the software, right? It's always all the disciplines for a new product. It can be about, the cybersecurity. That can be about things like marketing that you do for a new product. And they all have to align on that same delivery, right? Yeah. At the same time, they're working on the same product and the same value. And if you don't do this, you'll very easy get to the glass ceiling, right? You do your stuff Agile, but the people around you connected to that same delivery are not. Means they will be late, you will be early, the full delivery will be late. And so you need to bring that in. And I can say honestly that I have never done Agile exclusively in IT, because I've always been in those full deliveries where you have more than one discipline involved, often sometimes 6, 7 different disciplines next to the software development. And you need to align them. So The point is you need to understand for the full delivery, you need more than just the software development. That's number one. And the second one, I would say, you know, on the corporate level, if you want to create that corporate agility, you have to get the other departments or whatever you call them, the entities in the organization, you have to get them in that same modus, you know, working, whether it's, you know, recruitment campaigns or marketing campaigns or anything else that you do. You have to make sure that they have that same kind of interest in, you know, we all work for the same company, right? So we want to bring that forward, even in a non-for-profit. And that's where the beyond IT Agile is, for me, a no-brainer, right? This what you have to look on. This is why we work in transformations, on corporate transformations.
Amazing. And what advice could you give to the executives and the middle management in doing this agile transformation?
Yeah, so what I would like to say, if you go into an agile transformation, you're going into a deep change, right? It's not just what you do on the top layer, but it's also understanding that, you know, to be able to do this in the way that helps you the most, you need to, you know, the layer below in the organization, you need to bring changes in there. And people don't like change. And people are used to their role and the function that they have. And the leadership team is, I think they have three very important roles in there. First, they have to be the role model, because if the people have to go into a new way of working, the leadership team has to role model it. It makes it more easy for the people to adopt. Yeah. The second one, there will be formal changes in the organization. People are not authorized to make those formal changes, and this is what the leadership team has to do. And the third one is understanding that if you're going to do something new, it will not be perfect from day one. Yeah. And the pitfall is easy to get back into old solutions. Yeah. And this is where the leadership team has to come in. You know, they have to keep, you know, the people, the teams, the organization innovating forward within the Agile values and principles to see, okay, you know, what is it that we can do if we have a problem to overcome the problem and get better at it. Yeah. When it comes to the middle management, I perceive the middle management can stop anything because they know the people, they know the organization, they know the business, right? So if they want to, they can block. But also if they want to, they can be the ultimate catalysts in any transformation process in the organization. And that's what you need to focus on if you go into an agile transformation.
Interesting. And I think we had, you mentioned very important point about people, in a way, they resist the change. Yeah. And from your experience, from your journey, could you share some insights on particular example of people resisting this change, and how did you, during your large experience, and how did you overcome this resistance?
Yeah, so the resistance is against the uncertainty. You know, people like to have, you know, a clear view, what's going on, what is my position, what is my role, what do I have to do, and now we're going to do this change, and that's difficult. So you have to understand that fear is maybe a big word, but let's call it fear. That fear is holding people back. So you need proper agile coaches who know what to talk about and also who understand the dynamics of the human brain in change to take people by the hand. So in terms of overcoming the resistance, if you want to call it resistance, is that you have people next to you that help you make your steps. Those people, let's call them agile coaches, they need to be knowledgeable, they need to be skilled in helping people making little steps forward. And also they need to be able to be strict when necessary, because if you want to work agile, some people, you know, just try a little bit, and if you look really close, it's just old habits and old reflexes, and then the coach has to step in. But when the coach steps in and is strict, okay guys, this really has to improve, then they need to be skilled in taking the individuals or the teams with them based on their knowledge and their experience.
Nice, interesting. And from your vast experience in the agile transformation, what is the key success factors of this transformation?
Yeah, I think there are, you know, you can look at this from multiple angles because there are many big and small success factors that will help you to make a step forward. But the leadership team is the most important one. And very often people on the executive level think, oh, you know, agile is, you know, down there, you know, in the teams, but it's for themselves not only benefiting the organization, you know, if they work agile in their mindset and apply the same kind of practices as the teams do, that's very helpful. It's going to bring value, right?
Yeah.
At the same thing as when you have people in the teams doing Agile. And of course, when they are working Agile, there will be that role model and they will be recognized, and it will help people to move forward. I think that's the most important success factor of the leadership team. The other side of the story is, if you look at deeper into Agile working, we have to understand things will never be perfect. Things will always be changing, also in the organization or in the ecosystem of the organization. And this is where people need to have that, attitude and the connection to do this together. And that means that in the teams, people need to know what they are doing. Yeah. The coach comes in, because if you don't know, the coach will help you. But that's, really applying the Agile practices. There's a big set of Agile practices, if I may say, that you can use. In the moment you know them and you identify a problem in a retrospective, you can keep that loop of continuous improvement in the teams, innovating forward.
Agile is indeed all about installing the plan, do, check, act or correct. So failure is an option as long as we learn from it and act upon it. Could you give some example of a failure that you had?
Yeah, I'm afraid I can give you one of those failures. For me, the baseline of Agile is the interaction it's an interaction concept, I say sometimes. And when it comes to that interaction, you need people to collaborate in a different way than they collaborated before.
Yeah.
And for that collaboration, I need the support from the management level. And of course, when you open the conversation before you go into any kind of work or transformation, the leadership team will say, yeah, of course we support that. And then when it's real, of course they don't, right? Because they say, no, this person is very busy and he can't be in this team now, and blah, blah, blah. And then you're in trouble because the team is waiting for one of the key stakeholders to be there and to contribute. And you have to be strict upon the management, and you have to be very clear. And sometimes I am too soft. And then I see it happen. I know I will lose days, before I have the time to get them together again. And this is where I went wrong sometimes, that you have that moment in the beginning and everybody will say yes to you. And when push comes to shove, they don't on the leadership team level, and they disrupt the team process. Yeah. So this is where you have to be. And that's one of, I think that point, that on support of the leadership and things going wrong, is if I had any kind of problems, it was always, you could always lead it back to that kind of very specific thing where you say, okay, it's the leadership team support, and you have to act on it. When you're a transformation coach or a transformation lead, even when you do just a delivery project, this is where the essence is, and this is where I sometimes, make mistakes and things went wrong.
Yeah, and you've mentioned you need to get the buy-in from the top management. Yeah. They should sponsor this transformation. And I always I think about how can we sell the idea, or how can we, not selling, how can we show the output and the positive output of this agile transformation to the top management? Because as you said, they're always busy, they don't have time. Yeah. And how can you make sure that those top management, this layer, is aware of the positive outcome consistently about this transformation?
Yeah, one of the things that I apply myself is, to do Gemba walks with the management team, So what I do is, number one, I will make sure that in the transformation process, the leadership team is ahead of the teams in transformation. So I start with the leadership team before we start working with the coaches on the teams in transformation. Not completely, but, they need to be ahead of them. And that's, for me, very important. Then at least they will be able to recognize, okay, we work in a different way. What is it that I will see if I walk into my teams? Now, quite a few managers and people from leadership teams and executive teams, they are not used to walking to the team space. So we do that. We take the people by the hand, literally the management team, and we visit the teams in transformation. In those team spaces, we make sure that there's a lot of visual management. So the managers, the executive team walk in and they can see, like plan boards and innovation radars and burn down charts. So they also now start to see the value of just showing their face in the team space, because instantly they get the feedback and the information that normally they have to wait for, or maybe they have to ask for, and there it is visual management, real time on the wall, and that's sort of a catalyst process, to make sure that people start appreciating from both sides the transformation.
Interesting. Thank you so much, Arie. It's a pleasure always to having you with us in our studio.
Again, the pleasure was on my side.
Till we meet again.
Absolutely.
Thank you.